morning, SILZ, and welcome aboard. We know you have so many options out there, and we appreciate you coming here each and every single day. It's been an amazing couple of days here with the NFL and with the Eagles, especially in free agency. You know, isn't it funny? The NFL knows exactly how to dominate the front page of the sports page. Every other story, when it comes NBA or you start talking baseball or anything else, it's a second to third story. The Sixers, the Phillies, they won't be really interesting until what? 25 games in before you realize who they are. The NFL knows how to promote their league. They just know how to get it done. I want to start it out. Jake Elliott, 4-year extension by the Eagles. It has a value of $24 million. It's been a lot of work here for Howie Roseman, the general manager of the Eagles. And let me give you my spin on the Gardner Johnson sign. How many people like it? Thank you, Spin. How many people like the Gardner Johnson sign? Hey, Hollywood Hogan? Absolutely, man. Okay, absolutely. I love it. Me. I think it's kind of funny listening to the Philly media all backtracking now when they called him a bad teammate and said that this guy here has got character issues. I think it's funny watching those guys talk about him now. We never said that about him. And all the people now walking those comments back is funny. For me, Gardner Johnson coming back to Philadelphia. I love the move. I know we're not going to wake up tomorrow morning because we know who the player is. They actually gave him more money. And I'm going to tell you something else here in a couple of minutes about Howie Roseman. Look, the one thing that you could say about Gardner Johnson is he a proper run fit slot corner? No. Is he a guy who gets lost in coverage sometimes? Yes. But the one thing he is, and right off the top, he's a ball hawk. He's always around the ball. He's a playmaker. And he's a lot like Stephon Diggs on the offensive side up in Buffalo, but he's also like the kid Diggs in Dallas. See, personally, Diggs can get beat. He gets beat in Dallas a lot, but he's a playmaker. There's certain guys that don't play with great technique, but are just playmakers. Okay? I mean, there's just certain guys who, like when you look at Devontae Smith play, he's a technician. Gardner Johnson's not a technician. Okay? He's a big play guy. And I'm going to invest in that. I want to invest on defense in big play guys. I love the move. I loved the player 2 years ago when he was an Eagle. Now, you know, the way it ended, the comments he made towards Eagle fans, shit, Darius Slay called you guys toxic, and he's still on the team. Don't let that stuff get in the way of a good player being on your roster. Who cares? Go make plays, guy. In my opinion, Philadelphia Eagle fans will forgive that. Who's the third base guy that got caught doing something stupid at the stadium and Philadelphia fans let him have it and he had to apologize? And you guys forgave him. Just go out and play. That shit doesn't matter. Okay? Ray, Mike Williams got released. Boy, the Chargers got some pretty tough decisions to make before 4 o'clock Eastern time. I mean, Joey Bosa, Mike Williams, they just made a big move there. Keenan Allen, so they went with Keenan Allen. Chargers has some pretty big decisions to make. CJ cleared the air. We're good. Fantastic, Chris. I agree. Hey, man, words can be erased. Actions are the things that you really have a problem with a guy. So if he's talking some shit, he's a shit talker. Who cares? Look at that. I mean, it's all good. At the end of the day, he was probably hurt that the Eagles didn't make more of an effort to bring him back. That's all good. People get emotional when it comes to stuff like that. Okay? SILZ, would you trade Sweat for Derwin James in a Philadelphia second? Derwin James? Come on. Hey, you ain't letting that guy go if you're the Chargers. You are not letting that guy go. Okay? That guy's like a Cam Chancellor, dude. No way. That's right, Chris. I agree. So, again, how I look at Gardner Johnson, and I love the fact that Howie and Gardner Johnson buried the hatchet. Everyone in the locker room buried the hatchet. And you know what? They're moving forward. Good. That's a sign of leadership. I'll tell you one thing is definite. The Giants got better. Washington's getting better. The Eagles are getting better. And the Dallas Cowboys, they're just sitting there. I don't know what the Cowboys are doing or thinking. You have one playmaker on your team. You're not good enough right now. That team is not good enough. Even with the deficiencies the Eagles have on defense, the Cowboys are not good enough. Good Lord. If CeeDee Lamb goes down, you have nothing. Okay? That's my problem too, Ray, when you guys keep bringing up Devin White. You know what the problem that Todd Bowles had with him and why there was a constant bitching match with Devin White is because they had to motivate the player all the time. It became exhausting. Devin White is a non-motivated player internally. He has to be motivated. Ray, here's the thing about Devin White. If things are going great and you're winning a lot of games, you want him in your starting lineup, and he is a demon out there. If things suck, this guy's not a guy you want in a foxhole with. Like that losing streak last year, White would have looked pathetic in Kelly Green. He'd have looked pathetic. So that's something you got to look at with him. He plays up and down. He's not really a motivated guy. Now, I'm not going to tell you who told me that inside the Buccaneer organization. You know, I'm very close to those guys. He just doesn't play up to his potential all the time. Sap's right. That's the narrative on him. That's why he hasn't been signed. Dude, when that Super Bowl year, he was blitzing. He was all over the field. He stood out. Last couple of years, and this guy's only 26. And he's now gone past day 3. Okay, you know what teams are looking at? Do I have a better option? So it's not the player's skill set with Devin White. Okay, it's not the player's skill set. It's his attitude that you have to be concerned with. $20 million? Do you know this guy was going to be on pace to make $20 million? And because the Bucs got tired of his shit and put a lesser drafted guy in his position, who they got more production out of, and they got actually better, his value has dropped immensely. So I agree with you guys. He is a talent. But is he self-motivated enough? I don't know. I might want a lesser guy who at least is going to go out there and play. Look, would I rather have, who's a better player, TJ Edwards or Devin White? Devin White, hands down. Who's going to play 17 games, whether it's good or bad, you're in a losing streak or you're in a winning streak? TJ Edwards is. You feel me? You're going to get more consistency from that kid than you are White. That's a problem for me. So, I mean, he's a great skilled kid. He's a great skilled ball player. That's the best move that they have made so far that I like a lot is the Gardner Johnson move. That kind of makes that Huff move look better. Okay? So you got it. You're addressing edge. You're addressing the safety position. Okay? These are good players. Again, the problem we have with Huff, again, is the run defense. Look, you can't have Hassan Reddick and him in the same huddle. You can't. You just can't. Because teams will take advantage of that. I know we're gonna talk about Josh here in a minute. So for the Gardner Johnson deal, I like it. And I'm going to tell you something else it does. Let me get to the topics here. It's not really a topic. It's more of a comment. There has been, in my opinion, and maybe if you guys agree with me on this, there's been a self-evaluation by the Eagle front office in ways. And you tell me if you see the same thing I do. Yeah, that's right, Barb. Thank you. It does start the new year, 4 o'clock. The official National Football League 2024 season officially starts. There's been a course change here. Are the Eagles admitting mistakes? Look, when you admit a mistake and then try to right the mistake, I love this. They made a mistake on not ever valuing the running back. Now, look, whatever I think of Saquon Barkley and the resources of the money where I think it should be appropriated versus a running back, I'm not talking about that. They're obviously valuing the running back position. Okay, right? They feel they've made a mistake. So they addressed it and corrected it. That's a course change. Bringing back Gardner Johnson. Is this admitting a mistake that they made a year ago by not re-signing him? And then bringing him back for more money. Is this admitting a mistake? I think it is. And I think it's a great thing. Hey, you know, we didn't really value the position. So we're going to pay $10 million or roughly around there, $10 million for a safety. What? We're going to pay $12 million for a running back. What? I think that's fabulous. I think that is definitely something that has changed. Jason, I don't know if it's about humility. I think it's more about, you know, we need to change our value here a little bit on this running back. I think it's course change, not humility. Hey, Flexen, where's the line? I get that. Where's the linebackers? Hey, Steve, it is a good deal. It is a good deal. Okay, it's a good deal. Think they trade for a linebacker? Maybe. Okay, so again, I think, listen, this is not even addressing players. This is addressing course change. Gail says how he put his ego to the side, Silz. Right on, Gail. Yes. How he went like this kid talked a lot of shit. We talk shit. We bled stuff out to the media. So what? Let's bring him back. He's a good player. It's a fair deal. Let's bring him back. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay? I mean, I like. Hey, Joe, I want people to stop suggesting that Kellen Moore is this ace OC. He's not. We'll see what he does. They didn't win shit in Dallas. It's not about putting numbers up. It's about putting critical wins up. That's the problem that you have when you talk about offensive coordinators. There's offensive coordinators, like Jimmy Johnson said on this show, that want to put big numbers up and big scores up. And then there's coordinators that want to win Super Bowls. Who are you? He hasn't done any of that. So don't go there with that. He's not this superstar OC. There's very few of those guys, and most of them are head coaches. He's not, and don't overhype him. Let's see what he does with all this skill set. Okay? Let's see what he does. Dak's a choker. Not Kellen Moore's fault. Okay, wait a minute. Dak sucks, but Brian Johnson, he sucked, not Jalen. Is that correct? Is that how you look at that? So in Dallas, it's Dak's fault. But in Philly, it's Brian Johnson's fault. Got it. Okay? Got it. I'm not saying he's a bad OC. I'm not saying he's a bad OC, but hey, Kyle Shanahan, a little bit overhyped and overrated. Guy, you got to win the thing, man. I mean, I know, hey, just because you get to the bar exam, you got to pass it. Hey, I took the bar twice. Great. Did you pass it? No. Well, shit. You're still not a lawyer. Okay? You're still not a lawyer. Okay? You get on the internet 5 days a week screaming at the computer how much the Eagle, where did I say the Eagles suck today? Where have I said anything in the first 18 minutes of the program of that? You're hearing what you want to hear, which is standard. You take 2% of what I say and you spin it into some bullshit that's not true. The Gardner Johnson deal is absolutely fabulous. And what I'm saying to you about the Eagles is a good thing, jerk. They're making a course change in how they're looking at the safety position and the running back position. That is how you win championships. Not staying pat. Always having a course change. Always maneuvering and adjusting to the environment around you. That's how you win. You know, it's called adjusting. It's not calling it rethinking. It's pivoting. It's good. The teams that pivot and don't stay in their old way, those are the teams that are going to win. The teams like Bill Belichick, who stay in their old system in their old way, will be passed by the league. Okay? SILZ, if you're not praising them like our shit local media, it's hate. I get it, man. People look at it like that. But I as you know, Greg, I look at things on a day-to-day basis, and I don't sit here coming in here with some hot take trying to stir the masses up. I give you my opinion and my heart on something here, and I'm telling you that your general manager has really done a great job here in doing the most important thing that he could possibly do. His player selections, I'm not debating that right now because I have the last 2 days. What I am saying to you is that they're taking swings. They're paying running backs. And now they're paying safeties. Great. Great. Dallas sits back and look. You know what the Cowboys are doing? How many people believe this? So if the Cowboys don't win this year, like Des Bryant says, every Cowboy fan and media person is going to blame Dak Prescott for the inability of the Cowboys to have retooled the team. It's almost like you're setting the guy up for failure. Okay? It's almost like you're setting the guy up for failure. You don't have a running back worth of shit. You don't have another wideout. You have one guy who you think's the best receiver in the league. I'll take both the Eagle wideouts before I would take CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is not better than Devontae Smith. He is not. Devontae Smith as the number one receiver in Dallas, he'd be a 1,600 yard guy. Devontae Smith being a number one guy in Cincinnati would be that. He is a number one guy accepting the second role because he's a professional. Like when you're looking for an executive to come out of the business, the Wharton School of Business, and you want somebody to groom to be the next CEO, that's the guy you're looking at. He's a ready-made professional. Very few of those guys come into the league like that. Proper schooling, upbringing, mentality, drive, success, has a attention to detail. Devontae Smith is every single thing I just said. Everything I said. He's a legitimate one, accepting the role of two. Get this, for the betterment of the team. Hey, T. Higgins is requesting a trade. If I'm Devontae Smith, or if Devontae Smith, let me ask you this before we move on. If Devontae Smith had A.J. Brown's mentality, would he have requested a trade? Would Devontae Smith in this time, would he have requested a trade? Okay? If he had Brown's mentality, you know he would have. You know he would have. We're going to find out, too, by the way. We're going to find out who's going to suffer in touches. We'll see how that whole dynamic works. To be fair, SILZ, defending Kellen Moore when I said I didn't like the decision, we cannot determine the hire on February. Just being realistic. Q, all I'll say is this. That's a fair comment by you in March. All I'm saying is that I'm going on his history and who he is. You're talking about the upcoming 2024 season. That's a fair comment. But what's his resume say? What's he won? Nothing. I mean, I wouldn't pump this guy up as being Don Coryell or an Ernie Zampese or Bill Walsh or an Andy Reid, even a Matt LaFleur. I wouldn't throw him in that room. Surely not a Sean McVay. Okay? Offense is going to go through Barkley? Well, then why are you paying $50 million to your quarterback? There is not an offense that a $50 million or $48 million quarterback that the team runs through someone else other than that guy. And if you're running it through someone else, you got the wrong quarterback. No, I didn't like him. You defended him when I bashed him. No, it's an upgrade from what you got, Q. I mean, I think we're talking almost about the same thing. Okay? I think we're kind of sitting on the same thing, Q. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. If Kellen Moore gets us to the Super Bowl, the Eagles will have a coaching decision to make. That's right, Anthony. Because if you move off of him, That'll be the fourth coordinator that Hurts will have in 5 years. That's right. You've already had Nick, Steichen, Johnson. Now you got Moore. And Jalen Hurts is 3 years starting. Going into his fourth year, he'll have 4 offensive coordinators. And if he plays this year and Kellen Moore does well, he'll have 4 coordinators, or he'll have 5 coordinators in 4 years. That will be a decision. But that'll be a good decision. Because quite frankly, the Eagles aren't loyal to their coach anyway. They never have been under the Jeffrey Lurie era. They're not loyal to their coaches. They'll fire a Super Bowl coach or a guy that's got you to 3 straight playoffs. It doesn't matter to them. Whatever is in the best interest of the Philadelphia Eagles. And if that means Kellen Moore's the new head football coach, you would want that. That, to me, is what they want this thing to look like. They want Kellen Moore to be the head coach. You know why? He would be a play-calling head coach. That's what every team in the NFL today covets. They don't want the business manager guy anymore. Those guys are dying breeds. Okay? You're either going to be a defensive-minded guy who's going to be in control of his defense, or you're going to be a play-calling offensive head coach that has the clipboard in his hand and the main headset talking to the quarterback, because it's a fail-safe from you losing your OC every year. That's what the Eagles want. Nick Sirianni is not what they want. He's a stopgap. Let me tell you who Nick Sirianni is. And I was talking with somebody about this last night. Nick Sirianni is a stopgap to see who the next head coach is. Because once they find that play calling OC, they're going to name him head coach. Like if Jalen Hurts throws for 4,400 yards and 35 touchdowns, they're not letting him go. They're going to offer him the head coaching job. Why wouldn't you? I would. Because Nick brings nothing to the table. Kellen Moore brings you a head coach that's a play caller. Do you understand it? You won't have to change your OC for potentially the next 5-6 years. But if he does well and you let him walk out the room, you're back to square one again. Okay? But if Kellen fails, Nick will remain. Nick's got probably, right now, Nick is safer today than he was a year ago. Because the coordinator, this is on him. Yeah, if Hurts has a big year, he's finished. I agree, Flexen. All right. Now we move on to the potential dealings of Reddick and Josh Sweat. I posted this on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. Josh Sweat is on the trading block, and it seems that he's been told that teams have called and that there's a likelihood that he will be dealt. When he's wishing his fans goodbye and saying goodbye to his fans and his friends, that's a tell sign that they've informed the agent that there's a great possibility, so be prepared. There's going to be a trade with Josh Sweat. Reddick also has been informed, and I'm going to tell you how we know this. Here's one thing that teams are now looking at with Josh Sweat. What's the one thing you think they're looking at? His medical. Here's a 27-year-old defensive end who's got a high market value right now, who's got potentially 40-year-old knees because of that catastrophic injury he had in high school. I think the Eagles are looking at this now going, how many years left do you think he has? This guy's more like in dog years. I love Josh Sweat. Don't get it twisted. Do I want him back? Absolutely. Am I going to give him away for a bag of fiddles and a bag of Skittles and stuff? No, I am not. I like the player a lot. Okay? How many years do you think Josh Sweat has left on those knees? the wear and tear of a year ago, he played almost 300 more snaps than he did the previous year. I wonder if the Eagle doctors and their trainers are going, here we are. Could be a crossroad here. Do you want to trade the player when he still gives you massive value before his contract is up next year? Told you I'll give it midweek, my buddy SILZ. Would lighten up. Got to get past the initial blow. Got to love SILZ. Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, Xander was even saying, hey, man, what's going on? No, it's forming into shape. This is what I do. I'm not going to sit here and go, let's see what happens in September. Why would I? What show would I have until September? I wouldn't. And when you hear people talk like that, they've never really done it that long. This is what I do. This is what I've been doing for 35 years. Okay? We react every day. That's what sports talk is, not fantasy talk. Chris, do you move him? I got to tell you, I wasn't a fan of the move last night. But talking to people, and Kevin O'Neill, who was my trainer and a Dallas Cowboy trainer, Miami Dolphins trainer, and I forget someone else he was. He goes like this. I go, do teams talk to the coaches and analytics people and the general manager about the health of a player when it comes to free agency and how long you should keep a guy? And you know what they said? Oh, yeah. I go, what do you make of Josh Sweat? He had that catastrophic knee injury, and he's 27 years old. He's played a couple of years. He's been in the league. How many years has Josh Sweat been in the league? Hey, Jay, I cursed you out yesterday. Today, I love you. I'm A.J. Brown. All right, Jay? How many years has Sweat been in the league? 6? Okay. I say he's tops a 9-year guy. I think the Eagles are looking to trade him now because they think he's running out of gas. Since 18, Kyle, would you trade him? Man, I hate giving. Thank you, Jay. I hate giving up on this guy. I like him. Would you trade him? Raiders cut Jimmy G. Yeah, they're also going to cut Hunter Renfrow. Hey, you want to hear something crazy that somebody – hey, you want to hear what Michael Irvin told me about the Saquon Barkley deal? Hey, Xander. Michael Irvin, he oh, by the way, we're going to have Jason Cole at 3:30 and Keith Byers will be with us at 5:30. The legendary Philadelphia Eagle running back will comment on the signing of Saquon Barkley. Truly one of the greatest backs that was way before his time, one of the great pass-catching running backs, and one of the great running backs in Eagle history. You talk about a dual-threat guy, Keith Byers, way ahead of his time. Okay, way ahead of his time. Will be with us at 5:30, our dear friend. Drew goes, who's Keith Byers? Hey, Brian Westbrook, I'm working on him, Drew. I'm working on Brian Westbrook to come on later in the week. Okay? Yes. Do you trade him? Man, what could you get for Josh Sweat? Hey, you want to hear something crazy? What if Howie Roseman gets a 2 and a 5 for him? Like the Giants had to give the Panthers a 2 and a 5. You're telling me you value him in the same way you value Brian Burns? That's a tough putt for me to get up off of Josh Sweat. You can get a third for him? Man, I think he's more valuable than a third. SILZ, would you get Justin Fields as a backup for Hurts? Anthony, I just don't think Fields is a good player. I really like the kid's work ethic. Okay? I really like the kid's work ethic. He just is not a really good passer. And with all, I mean, you have all these skill set guys. Goddard, the two receivers, the O-line, a pass catching back, and you're going to sign a quarterback who can't throw the ball to him? I'm not in on that. Okay? Yeah, but John, he's not a good passer. He's just not. And I don't think he's dual threat because he can't pass the ball. Michael Irvin, thank you. Hey, look at Prince. Hey, Xander, look at Prince. What was the Michael Irvin take? Michael Irvin said this. Will somebody look this up too just to verify? Did Hunter Renfrow make $13 million or $12 million? Is that what he made? He goes, SILZ, who would you rather have? Saquon Barkley or Hunter Renfrow? And I'm like, I go, what's your point? He goes, well, you know, you're going to pay for a good player. And I go, and he can do more. I think Hunter Renfrow was in line to make $12, $13 million this year. And you're like, and Michael Irvin was, Mike kind of straightened me out a little bit on it because he goes, hey, dude. Yeah, but that's not the point. He goes like this. He goes, the guy's making $12, $13 million, man. He goes, I'm not paying that for him. I'm paying that for Barkley. I was like, I don't know. So he made a good look at that. Kyle says that get this, look at this. Hunter Renfrow, is that right, Kyle? $13.7 million. Who would you rather have, Kyle? Hunter Renfrow, or would you rather have Saquon Barkley? Britton Covey, thank you. Hey, Britton Covey. Oh, okay. All right. Man, trading Josh Sweat, though. Mike sent me this. Inside the Barkley numbers. Man, you know what? I hate waffling and I hate riding the fence, but man, that guy is really good. He had no help last year. Do you trade him? Dude, you cannot have Bryce Huff and Hassan Reddick as your edge rushers. You just can't. They can't play the run. I'm with you. Hey, Bran, I'm with you, man. Josh Sweat is such a good football player. And Brian says that Howie Roseman's kryptonite is the first round. I'm not thinking you're not wrong here. You know, I'll say this to you one more time about Jalen Hurts here also. So let's take a look at the first rounders you have on the team. A.J. Brown's a former first rounder. Devontae Smith's a first rounder. Saquon Barkley's a first rounder. Like first and second rounders. So look at what you have in your huddle offensively. Do you have anybody that was a third rounder? The right guard, right? Let's take a look at that. I've never seen more first and second rounders in my life in one offense. AJ's a former first rounder. Devontae Smith's a former first rounder. Oh, wait, you're right. AJ is a second rounder. He's a second rounder. Devontae is a first rounder. Is Goddard a second or third rounder? I forget what round Goddard went. Landon is a second rounder. Mulata's a seventh. Cam's a second. Lane's a 1. Jalen is a 2. And Barkley is a 1. Wow. Dallas was a second? Think about this. I don't know if I've ever seen this before in an offensive huddle with all these guys. So AJ's a 2. Smitty is a 1. Goddard is a 2. Lane is a 1. Cam is a 2. Hurts is a 2. Barkley is a 1. 7 of the 11. Oh, Landon's a second. 8 of the 11 are first or second round draft choices. That's unbelievable. Steen's a third, I thought. I mean, Steen's a third and Mulata is a 7th, right? Out of the 11 starters, 8 of them were drafted in the first or second round. I don't know about you, but if you don't do shit with that this year, and this is going to lead us into this, into the next question here, there's something wrong, man. Yeah, I did. Juergens is a 2 out of Nebraska. Yep. Okay. SILZ, look at this. Who is a difference maker? That's who you keep. I look at it differently, Brand. Who does more? Josh does more than Reddick. He does more. I don't know what round Devontae Parker was. The kid from the Patriots that just came down. Okay, we need to take Kelsey's comments. I'm going to get to those. Here's Barkley's contract, just to take a look at it some more. 2024, the cap hits $3.9 million. It's only 2% of the cap this respected year, which means this. It's not. Barkley and Hurts' contract have no real damage to the cap at all this year, and most likely next year. Looks to me, if you're looking at his contract, what did they say? That it's a 4-year contract? It's really not. It's a 2-year contract. SILZ, are you shocked Kansas City gave Chris the money? No. Think about what they did. They gave Chris Jones the money, but they wouldn't give Tyreek Hill. They felt they couldn't live without Chris Jones, but they felt they could live without Tyreek Hill, and they've been right. And they've been right. And he was a game-changing football player last year. When he wasn't in the lineup, the Chiefs did not look the same. Yeah, I saw that too, African. Mahomes restructured his contract to free up $20 million in space. I don't know. They're probably not done in free agency, or that's for the draft. Okay? So this is really a 2-year deal with Barkley. In 25, Barkley's base goes to 11. All of it guaranteed. And if you're looking at the 24 and 25 cap hits, it's 13.5 in total. Again, it's really well done by Howie. This is his forte. I'll tell you something. Let's do this. Let me finish it up here. If the Eagles were to cut him prior to the 26th season, you want to hear something even more that he put into the contract, which makes it even more insane, is that it'd be an $8 million cap hit, but you'd have $7 million in cap space saved if you cut him before 26. Say he shits the bed, he's hurt all the time, and that right there is how you construct a contract. You want a way out. You see the thing with Dak? The Cowboys have no way out of that $60 million deal except what? extension or new deal. I mean, they have no way out of that Cowboy deal with Dak Prescott. They have no way out of it. Howie gave himself a back door here, so to speak, on the Barkley deal. It's damn good. Here's what I'll say about Howie. See, when you read this stuff and you see what he has done here, this is the shit that keeps his job for him. This stuff's spectacular. This stuff's spectacular. Now, I had a conversation with what is more important to you? General managers that know how to restructure contracts, or a guy who can find guys in the draft in today's NFL with the money that's being thrown around? What's more of a value? What's Howie and every general manager? Would you rather have a general manager that, look at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones does a poor job at his cap and overestimating his talent. They do a nice job at drafting, but that's not good enough anymore. The guys who restructure these deals, free up money, find space, those are the guys that are, see, this is what I talk about. Yeah, Hollywood goes draft expert. Well, if that's the case, Hollywood, you've been to 2 Super Bowls in 6 years with the formula that they have because they know how to manipulate the cap. He may not be the greatest college drafter on defense, but the one thing that he does do to save his job, he writes a mistake by moving money around. I mean, the Barkley deal, the Hurts deal, it's good stuff. And you know how critical I am of the guy. We're talking something different here. We're not talking about his ability not to draft corners or linebackers. That is hammered home. But I don't think it's given enough love here. Look at the space he finds to be able to construct mistakes and cover mistakes with money that he stays under his cap with. Okay, I mean, that's a beautiful deal constructed. It's not a 4-year deal, in theory, because after the second year, what they'll do, they'll restructure the contract, lower the base, give him more of a bag of money. If Barkley goes for 1,400 yards the first 2 years in Philly, and he does what people are saying he's going to do, they're not going to let him walk into that third year with that contract. They'll restructure it, lower the base, more money up front, lower the cap hits. And this is what he does exceptionally well. This is what he does exceptionally well. I don't see anyone with the ability to do what Howie does with cap and contracts. It's crazy. Devin? No, because Mickey Loomis gets hammered in New Orleans, right? John Schneider's kind of, hey, Devin, Les Snead and Kevin Demoff in Los Angeles do a pretty nice job at restructuring contracts and such. Jason Light with the Bucks does a nice job. Okay, he does a nice job as well. And I don't know if Lynch does a good job because they're not paying the quarterback. Denny says that Howie's a mathematician. He just needs to assign someone who can evaluate the draft talent. Hey, Denny, that's been my take. That's been my take. SILZ, I'm hearing the Eagles are going to trade for a corner or a linebacker. So do you think they're using Josh Sweat as part of trade bait? And let's throw a name out. Patrick Surtain to Denver. You send Josh Sweat to, I'll tell you what, Josh Sweat to Carolina because they lost Brian Burns. They got draft equity too. Do you trade Josh Sweat to Carolina for draft picks? They need draft picks, Carolina. Okay? David Tepper is absolutely out of his mind on how he runs his team. It's got to be the worst run organization next to the Giants in football. It's got to be. Josh Sweat a second rounder for Surtain. That's not going to cut it. It'd be Josh Sweat a 1 for Surtain. Okay? That's what Josh Sweat a 1 for Patrick Surtain. That gets it done. A Sweat in a second, they're not going to budge on that. Dude, you're not valuing Patrick Surtain enough. Okay? Devin White from Tampa. We kind of broached that a little bit. All right. With what Howie has done, okay? With what Howie has done so far, and with the pending draft, do you guys think right now the Eagles are the Eagles are a Super Bowl contender? You think you're a Super Bowl contender? Brian says not yet. No. Still got work to do. Super Bowl champs 24. It's too early to tell. Absolutely not. You got a tremendous offense. Okay? 31st ranked defense again. I say wild card team right now. Offense, yes. Defense, not yet. One more thing, one more time. I love the Gardner Johnson sign. That will not change at all because I liked the player when he was here. And that's the first sign that I really like. And the contract extension for Landon. Okay? And the contract extension to Landon, I think, is great. 8 and 9. Devin White is not him. We'll all admit the DC calling was ass. SILZ, who do the Eagles get at linebacker? We're going to look at that here in a minute. I've got some of the top free agents that are left, and I'm going to give you my take and spin on those guys at the top of the hour here. Elliott extension is underrated. He's a really good special teams guy. Green Bay is going to be a problem. Green Bay is always a problem, though. They're a good run organization. Okay? It depends on coaching, SILZ. Let me ask you this, though. Don't you think with all the new coordinators and all the new, how many starters do you think you're going to have that are new? And you think that's going to be a seamless transition? Let's see. You're going to have a new safety. You're going to have probably 2 new safeties. 2 new starting linebackers. A new starting edge. You might have 2 starting edges. Right? You got a new starting wide receiver at number WR3. You got a new starting running back. And you got 2 coordinators, 2 new OC and DC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of your 22 starting football players are going to be new positions by new faces. And you're going to have new coordinators. How long do you think that takes to gel? Okay? How long do you think that takes to gel? It's a lot of new faces. That's right, Barb. It ain't going to be seamless. It wasn't a year ago. Now, the coordinators aren't experienced as these guys are. Hollywood goes half a season. Wow. So it's going to be a bumpy ride with all that talent for half the season, 6 weeks. Hollywood throwing Dream Team out. Chris says the Barkley move puts you in the playoffs. The Gardner-Johnson move, in my opinion, puts you more in the playoffs than the Barkley move. The Barkley, dude, do you see us trading Sweat or Reddick or both? I think both. And I would put this in here. The Gardner-Johnson sign is going to have more impact on the win total than what Barkley will. Barkley's going to be more of an impact on the offensive output because you had a high talented offensive skill set huddle last year. He's just going to be another component. My question is, how are you going to get the football to everybody in that huddle? Kellemore's never had this much talent before. I want to see how he's never had this much. How is he going to spread the football around? Are people going to get their panties in a bind? Shit, Dallas Goedert after week 3 was bitching about how he was being used in the offense. That was Dallas Goedert. That was Dallas Goedert. Okay? Hey, Joshua, this is why the Bryce Huff deal, when you're talking about Bryce Huff and having Hassan Reddick, you can't have both those guys. They're the same dude. They're limited. They can't play the run. Reddick's a little better. And Nolan Smith is not ready yet. Hell with it. Nolan Smith and Huff as our DE starters, you're in trouble. Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith playing on first and second down, you'll never be in third down because they're going to run the ball right at those guys. SILZ A.J. Brown to Denver for Surtain. No, not yet. I'm moving AJ next year, not this year. Okay? SILZ, who's stopping the offense? Themselves, like they did a year ago. Who stopped them last year? Who stopped your offense last year? You. Turnovers. Okay? I mean, you won't be bad again. Okay? I trust Vic with the young guys, SILZ. Young guy, old guy. We'll see. I by the way, no shade on Vic. Tremendous reputation. Okay, but he's not Steve Spagnuolo. He's not. Okay? You see the Cowboys tried to make a play? No, the 49ers tried to make a play for Steve Spagnuolo. They asked the Kansas City Chiefs if there was a way that they could make a move to hire Steve Spagnuolo as their DC. Kansas City shut that shit down and gave him more money and signed him to a new contract. Steve Spagnuolo is not going anywhere unless it's a head coaching job. And I wonder, why would you leave now? You're in the process of going to the Hall of Fame as arguably one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time. You got 4 Super Bowl wins, 1 with the Giants, 3 in Kansas City. Why would you leave? You're making $5 million a year. I mean, as a coordinator, why would you go? And you got Mahomes. As long as Mahomes and Andy Reid are in Kansas City, if I'm Steve Spagnuolo, I'm not moving. I'm not moving. You think Clint Hurt gets Huff and Smith to play better? I don't know if it's anything to do with playing better if you don't have the skill set to stop the run. Stopping the run, that's an innate thing that you either are good at it or you're not. Dude, stopping the run, I was a really good run stopper. Every defense I played on, we were number 1 or number 2 in whatever league I was in. And when I was in college football at the University of Miami, we were the number 1 defense in the nation. against the run. I mean, it's a different skill set. You got to be physical as hell, man. When you're a run like that, Gang Green defense was so physical at every level, linebacker, D line, the secondary. Shit, the safeties were some of the most feared people in the league. Huff is Vanilla Ice of the NFL, one trick for 1 year. I sure hope not. Okay? Okay? Yeah. Stopping the run, man. You guys have not been great at it. You were early in the year last year. I thought you were really good at it. Like the Ravens, man. Ravens are always great and physical because they got big. I'll tell you what, the Bucks are good at it. Because of Via Veda in there, I'd like those big physical, like, I'll tell you this, man. He's a first and second down defensive tackle, right? Nose guard, slant, nose, whatever. If you can get Jordan Carter to play like him, then you landed on something. But he's not him. That Buccaneer DT is fabulous at stopping the run. What was that guy's name? Who was that guy that played in Baltimore that was really a great run stopper? I would like a Vince Wilfork in New England. Dude, if you're not a great pass rusher and you're not getting home, you better be a lights out fire hydrant where they're not getting past you. That's it, nada. He was freaking awesome at playing the run. Big old giant Samoan guy, huge guns, 550 bencher, moved his feet. He was a force in the middle, man. Man, what and to get in Tampa. That's when you know you're good against a run. And that's where the Eagles need. They in my 3 years now, going on to 4 years covering the Eagles, you guys have been kind of good doing it. Goose was great at it. Tony Saragusa was really good at it. Wolford better. Man, the two Samoans, man, one in Tampa and in Baltimore, were awful good at stopping the run. Sapp is more complete. And that's what you're hoping that Jalen Carter looks like. You're looking at Sapp and Jalen Carter, and you're looking at Jordan Davis to be somebody like a Vince, a Via Veda, like that, okay? Perry was good too. Fridge Perry, the problem that you had with him, he couldn't play a lot of downs because he was always out of shape. Like he was like a 6-play guy. Then it started tapering off, and Buddy would have to pull him. That's why he never really got. If you looked at like Fridge Perry's career, the best he played was in Chicago because Buddy knew how to use him. Buddy would play him for 6, 7, 8 plays, then pull him. Put him in for 6, 7, 8, pull him. Because the fresher he was, the better he was. The more plays he played, the worse he got. That's kind of what you're getting with Carter right now. Okay? That's why I actually think he may be a swing defensive tackle and you start Williams. But they're not going to do that because they're paying him and they drafted him in the first round versus Gilbert Brown was fantastic against the run. Michael Perry in Cleveland was good. The best guy of all time, though, that I ever saw pass rushing and playing the run was Michael Carter with the Niners. Michael Carter was the best I've ever seen at nose. The best. Silver medalist in the Olympics. 3-time Super Bowl champion. All-American. Shit, man. He was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to SMU. Fabulous football player. A dear friend of mine. And his daughter won the gold medal in Rio. Dean had a couple good years. Jim Burt was good. Miami Hurricane guy. All right. There are some free agents out there still that are of note that could help this team. Okay? I'm going to hit on these guys. We're also going to take a look around on the calendar to what's coming up for the Eagles coming up and the NFL. Ton of news. I love the fact also that Gardner Johnson apologized to the Eagle fans. It's a good first step. It's a good first step. There's so much news. Justin Fields to the Eagles as a backup. All right. Jason Cole, bottom of the hour. Keith Byers, legendary Eagle running back, will join us at 5:30 Eastern. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.